Department of Justice has just responded to Donald Trump's argument that he should not release, that the report on the 2 investigations into the president-elect should not be released. CNN's Caitlin Polans is here with us. Caitlin, a lot of fast-moving developments. What can you tell us about this?
Well, the Justice Department is telling the appeals court, the federal appeals court over Florida, stay out of it. They have a plan. This is the plan that they just outlined. They say the Attorney General now has that final report into the 2 criminal cases against Donald Trump that were brought by the Office of Special Counsel Jack Smith. The plan is that Volume 1 of that report, which is about the 2020 election case, they plan to release that both to Congress and the public because it's in the public interest. And then Volume 2 about the classified documents case against Trump, the Attorney General Merrick Garland doesn't want to release that publicly because there's ongoing appeals related to Trump's 2 co-defendants, whether that case could be revived against them and they could still face charges. They don't want to prejudice that. So the plan is that the Attorney General wants to make public what they believe these courts down in Florida have no ability to stop them on, the part about January 6th and the 2020 election.
Was not presiding over that case, that January 6th case.
But what she did yesterday was put a stop to releasing the report outside of the Justice Department in full, both volumes, with an additional 3 days once the appeals court makes a decision here. And the Attorney General, they made it quite clear that we've told you the plan, quote, that should be the end of the matter here. We do have to wait and see exactly what this appeals court does because that order from Judge Cannon is still in place. And there's only 12 days until the end of the time when Merrick Garland is Attorney General before Donald Trump is the president and will get to make calls like this on his own.
Interesting. Caitlin, all right, stand by. Joining me now is CNN senior legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Elie Honig. Elie, what do you make of this response by Jack Smith? Essentially, they're telling Judge Cannon down in Florida to butt out of this January 6th case. What do you make of all this?
Well, Jim, I think this is a perfectly fair and reasonable proposed solution by the Justice Department. First of all, with respect to the January 6th report in Washington, D.C., the Justice Department has the absolute right under law, if they so choose, to turn that over to Congress, to make it public. They should do that, and they've said that's what we intend to do. The legal dispute here really shouldn't have anything to do with the January 6th report. Now, separately, we've got the report on the classified documents case in Florida, and what the Justice Department has said is, okay, we understand there's 2 other defendants here other than Trump. That's Walt Nauta and Mr. DeOliveira. They still have potentially live cases. And so recognizing that they have a right as defendants, we're not going to blast this report out publicly. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to make it available behind closed doors to the leaders of Congress in order to protect their rights. Now, Jim, of course, you and I both know Walt Nauta and DeOliveira are going to get pardoned, but that's going to happen after Merrick Garland and this DOJ are out of office.
Yeah, and Elie, I mean, just to follow up on that very quickly, I mean, couldn't the Biden administration just make the decision unilaterally to release the report, put it up on the DOJ website, whatever, and despite what the judge is saying? Or does the judge have the final say here for the moment, unless it goes to an appeals court or the Supreme Court or wherever?
Ordinarily, it would be fully within the rights of the current administration and DOJ to throw that report up on a website. But they cannot do that right now because a federal district court judge, Judge Cannon, has said, no, hold on until the 11th Circuit, the Court of Appeals, where they're arguing now, comes out with some sort of ruling.
And so if that doesn't happen before Inauguration Day, it's possible this thing could get buried? Is that, I mean, not to belabor the point, but what do you think?
Yeah, the way that would happen is, again, DOJ has now announced what we're going to do is we're only going to make this report on the classified documents case available to congressional leaders, unless and until the case against Nauta and DeOliveira goes away. The problem there is that's not going to happen until Donald Trump's administration takes office. So at that point, they will be in control of the report and deciding what to do with it. I don't think there's any way the new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, or maybe there's someone who's in an acting capacity briefly says, okay, these 2 have been pardoned, now we're going to make the report public. I mean, that wouldn't happen I don't think, under a Trump administration.
Yeah, and Caitlin is also still with us. I mean, this is why I'm a little confused about this, because, I mean, wouldn't Judge Chutkan, who was presiding over that January 6th case, have say over whether a report pertaining to that case is released? Theoretically speaking, I'm just a layman here.
Maybe, if they were to ask her. But really, one of the arguments here is this is entirely up to the Attorney General. The federal judiciary shouldn't even have a part in making decisions like this. That's part of the argument. And with Judge Chutkan, it is plausible. There have been situations where judges have released, say, the Mueller report under public records. So other than this dispute in court with Eileen Cannon, there's a lot of different ways that this report could become public, either through Congress, through the courts, the Attorney General himself, or through FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act.
Right, yeah. And Ellie, we're also learning that Trump is going all the way to the Supreme Court to try to pause his sentencing in his hush money case. What's the Supreme Court likely to do there? Again, I'm just a layman asking the questions of a layman. I thought that was a state case, but he's taking it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's a good question. So first of all, as to the when, we are going to get a ruling from the Supreme Court sometime in the next 48 hours because Donald Trump's sentencing is scheduled for Friday morning. Now, as to what they're going to do, it would be a fool's errand, I think, to try to predict it. But a reason they might take this case is because this is really the first application of their own immunity ruling, which they issued last summer. But I think you're right. A reason they would not take this case is it's really sort of beneath the Supreme Court's pay grade. It's really a sentencing over a state level Class E, the lowest level felony, where the judge has already said, I'm intending to sentence him to an unconditional discharge, meaning to nothing. Ordinarily, the Supreme Court is going to have no part of a dispute about a state case involving a sentencing for the lowest level felony that's not going to result in any prison time. So I don't think we can predict it, but I can see valid reasons either way why the Supreme Court may or may not take it. The good news is we'll find out real soon.
All right, Ellie and Caitlin, thank you both very much. Appreciate it.